Hello, guys. In the beginning, I felt like standing up and walking. Then I thought I should rather be sitting down while talking, and I recommend you to sit tight as well, because in today's video, we're going to talk about three key things intertwined with choosing the right location for your restaurant. Now, 90% or more books you have read, lectures you have heard, or experts you have spoken to, they have told you how important the location for your restaurant is. What if I were to tell you otherwise? Would that sound crazy? It's not. Let me break it down for you and tell you why. Just to put things in perspective, just imagine that you have a choice to get married to a very, very pretty woman who would always ask for more. So he'd ask you to take her out to fine dining, um, or for a skydiving every week. Ask for jewelries, and who always demands a lot. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to an average-looking girl who would be happy if you could just feed her rice and beans. Now, the impression I get from my friends and acquaintances out there that it takes a lot more than just rice and beans to make their wives happy. However, the point I'm trying to get across is like, if you want to open a restaurant in a prime location, that's like getting married to that pretty girl. Obviously, no offense to any pretty girls out there. You all know we love you, right? Now, what I mean, the most of the restaurant owners, the number one mistake, they open their restaurant, they underestimate the rental expense. So your rental expense is gonna be an ongoing and a fixed expense, right? So that is a very serious matter, guys. When you open a shop in a good location or at a sweet spot somewhere in the middle of the city, right? That first of all, you have to compete with a lot of people to get there, and then obviously you have to pay a lot of money. Your rental expense is going to be so high, um, and that is going to be that will put a lot of stress on you, and obviously you will spend a fortune in terms of initial investment. So you have to bear that in mind. And then, if you're looking for a spot, some of the cons of having a good spot or getting the prime location somewhere, maybe in the CBD, in a developed country, for an example, you will see that many a time there will be constructions going on, there'll be road work going on, because cities are always changing and developing to adjust to the increase in demand, right? So there will be always some hustle and bustle going on that you have to deal with. Obviously there will be inconveniences in terms of parking and stuff like that, so you have to keep that in mind. It's not only the rental expenses, also the inconveniences that you have to deal with. Now, if you have a shop in a chilled out neighborhoods, in a suburb, it's kind of like getting married to that average girl, average looking girl. So you will have a very easy start, and it will take a lot of pressure off you in terms of initial investment. Some of the experts will tell you, some of the books you will read that will state that they come up with these fancy terms to impress us, right? They will talk about the rule of thumb for occupancy cost, which they actually mean by which they mean that your rental expense and the rent related expenses, right? So they say that the rule of thumb is 10%. So rule of thumb for your occupancy cost is 10% to 15%, or whatever they say it is, right? When you hear those things, guys, just throw them out the window. It all exists in the textbook. What you have to understand is you have to break even. So the one of the reasons they will tell you, one of the advantages they will tell you that you will have if you have a shop in a prime location, is that you will have a lot of customers walking through the doors. Now, just to argue that, guys, is it really an advantage? Because people who actually own restaurants and people who are involved in restaurant business in some way, they know for a fact that restaurants not going to be equally busy throughout the day, right? So you will have restaurants have its peak and the downtime. For an example, during lunchtime you may have an influx of people coming through the doors of your restaurant, and then it will slow down for a little bit and it'll pick up again later on in the afternoon. When is the peak time and a lot of people walking in, do you have the capacity to serve them? Can you actually, you're just a business owner, right? You're just about to open, you're just a new business owner, right? And you lack experience, short of staff, and there are many inconveniences, right? So when a lot of people walking through the doors, is that really an advantage for you? That's rather a disadvantage than that being an advantage, guys, because you don't have to you don't have the capacity to serve them all at once, right? If you are in a country, developing country, countries which are not that multicultural, so countries such as Bangladesh, Pakistan, or North African countries for that matter, you may have a food concept which, so if you have a food concept, it can be applicable all across or within the country. So what I'm trying to say is your food concept is gonna be suitable for any area or suburb you go to in those countries, right? So people's affordability will change. However, the food culture is not going to say is going to be the same. That's what I mean. Now when you come to a multicultural country, it's a different scenario altogether. People If you have a food concept, you have to find the right kind of people, the right demography, where you can sell your food. So I live in Sydney, Australia. I give you an example of Sydney, Australia. If you go to Auburn, you'll find people from majority of the people are from Turkish background. If you go to Lakemba, you'll find people from Pakistani, Bangladeshi, or Lebanese background. So if you have a food concept that's suitable for those kind of people, then you have to go to a particular area, and you have to find a location there, right? So your restaurant doesn't have to be in a prime location. It rather has to be in a place where it's suitable for the demographic. Now you may be a wealthy guy, you may have inherited some wealth, or you may have been approved a loan, which I don't recommend. I mean, absolutely not. When you're starting out and you take a hefty loan from a financial institution, guys, that is not what you should do. Just to make my point that you actually have a lot of money, say for an example, in your account, and you can afford a good spot, right, for your restaurant. That's good for you. But someone who has worked at three jobs, three regular jobs for past three years or X amount of years, right, and saved up only that much money, $20,000, $30,000, whatever amount it is, and he can afford the best spot, like you're saying he should. He envisioned becoming a successful restaurant owner. I mean, you shattered his dream right there. I mean, that's gonna put a lot of stress on that. Come on, man, that's already putting too much stress on that guy. Don't demotivate that guy. It's because you know for a fact this is not what you should be concerned about at all. The whole purpose of this video is to tell you guys it's not the location, it's not. You have to actually calculate your break-even point, which is very important. So if you have your now, regardless of your location, your business principle will be the same. So you have to have the right measurement, right principles, right management control, and the break-even point and all that. You have to work that out precisely. How to work that out, how to work out your break-even point. We're actually going to talk about everything in detail in my upcoming videos, and we're going to take a reverse approach. So basically, which not many people are aware of, right? So we actually going to take a reverse approach that actually works in real life, and that then we're going to break it down, and we're going to discuss how you actually have to implement your business plan, business strategies. However, for now, you all you need to know is you only need that many people walking through the door of your restaurants. You don't need everyone coming to you. So if that is the case, what's the point going to the best location anyway? Now, just in addition to that, I would like to say that the turnover rate for restaurants and shops in the prime in prime locations is very high. So if location is something that was going to save you, that shouldn't be the case. So, guys, you should go for a location which is cheap and affordable, where the rental expenses are low, and that is the key, guys. Along with having the right principle for your business. You can thank me later for that. Sometimes you don't choose the location. Your location may choose you. Remember the statistics we talked about in my first video, that 90% restaurants shut down within 2 to 5 years after opening? what does what does that tell you? Every week or every month, every year, there will be restaurants who are going out of business. So you actually have to constantly look for a business that you can take over. So restaurants up for sale or up for takeover, right? So there are businesses out there. It costs them a lot of money to keep it operating, in terms of like obviously in terms of electricity and water bills and staff expenses, uh, rather than keeping it shut. So they absolutely hit the rock bottom, guys. So these are the restaurants you're looking for. So when you find an opportunity like that, you need to grab those opportunities. That will give you a very good kickstart. Now, just one point I would like to mention here, that you have a food concept and you found a restaurant. which is not suitable, which where your food concept is where which is not quite suitable for your food concept, that in that case you have to rethink what kind of food you need to do, and you actually have to customize that according to the needs of the people living in that area. Obviously, one more thing I'd like to mention here, that when someone never take advantage of someone's situation, guys. Someone is struggling, someone is so desperate to get out of the business or want to sell their business, doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to take advantage of that poor guy's situation. um, you have to be fair in life, you have to cut a deal with him, which is a win-win, and when you do the right thing, guys, that goes a long way. Now, some of you might be contemplating opening a restaurant in a shopping center, and if that is the case, I'm going to demotivate you right now and tell you that's a no. Why? Because one of the reasons why you wanted to come into restaurant industry is because you wanted to have that flexibility. The moment you look for a shop in a shopping center, you lose all your flexibility. So who's gonna be your boss? You guessed it right. It's gonna be the center management. There'll be a long queue before you actually can get a shop in a shopping center. However, once you get a shop, you will see the inconveniences that will come with it is even greater. You actually have to get the permission to even buy a fly swatter sometimes. So everything will be you'll be watched constantly. You'll be watched constantly. Your performance will be watched constantly. Your rent will increase yearly. Uh, from practical experience, I can tell you maybe 10 to even up to 15%. In some cases, the rent may increase um, uh, based on your performance. We always talk about demography and working with local food, and basically having the right focus, right food concept, right? In a shopping center, that's not quite gonna be the case, because in shopping center, most of your customers gonna be floating customers as opposed to loyal customers. People who come for shopping or come there to watch movies and stuff like that. When they get hungry, they walk into your restaurant. So you're gonna be dealing with those kind of customers. In a shopping center, there will be a lot of ad hoc expenses. Not necessarily everything is gonna be laid out in the initial contract, guys. You have to be aware of that. Now, just to give an example, your shop needs to be renovated. So in this case, you can't hire your guy to get your shop renovated. You actually have to get it done through the center management. In that case, you'll be hit by big bills. You'll end up paying a lot more in that case. Sometimes, guys, what happens is, you have a food concept and you want to open a kebab shop, for an example. The shopping center will tell you that there is already a kebab shop in the shopping center. We're not gonna allow a second one there. So in that case, you cannot you have to change your food concept. You cannot do what you want to, and they will actually tell you precisely what to do, what not to do. So they will have a set of rules and guidelines that you have to abide by. They will tell you what time to open your shop, what time to close it. You cannot do what you wanted to do as a business owner, right? So you have to keep that in mind. One of the examples I'd like to give you from my personal experience, that if that one of my clients actually got hit by big bills during a festival. Now, he was charged close to $5,000, to his account, and then he had no clue as to why he was charged that amount. Now, 2 days later, he gets an email from the shopping center management stating that that amount was charged due to the decoration purposes, for the festival. Now, these are the things, guys, you have to be aware of. Things could get insane. The inconveniences in a shopping center are countless, guys. So please bear that in mind. If you have ever thought of opening a shop in a shopping center, then it's good that you haven't done it. Please stay away from that. um, just to finish off, right, some of the pros is that, in terms of security, you may get good security backup. So if there is a security issue, the shopping center management could be very prompt in terms of providing you with a good security backup. So things like that, things like on a rainy day, you get a lot of customers coming through your restaurant. However, these are the things, just small things, small things I wanted to mention. But the cons to having a shop or a kiosk in a shopping center, guys, is just mind-boggling. You should not even contemplate opening a shop in a shopping center. In today's video, the message I was trying to get across, you have to keep in mind, is not the location, right? It's not the location. It's always the principle, rather than going big on location. Thanks for watching the video again. I'll see you in my next video, guys. Thank you.